Good afternoon, dear friends. We are starting for the first time on Turan TV, TuraNNews platform. And we believe that this platform will be the unified platform where politicians from Azerbaijan, Turkey, but not only from Azerbaijan, Turkey, from other countries can join to our interesting discussion. We'll talk about politics, geopolitics, about the region, about the issues which unite us, problems of the region. And today we have with us Ambassador Ümit Yardım, who's a long-serving ambassador of Turkey. He has been serving as ambassador in different places. I will just say his CV. He was ambassador. He was also first secretary in the embassy in Baku in '97. He served as a consular in Lisbon, head of Department of Central Asia and Caucasus of the Foreign Ministry, deputy director of the Department for Central Asia and Caucasus of the Foreign Ministry. He worked as ambassador extraordinary and plenipotentiary to the Republic of Iran, ambassador to Russian Federation, then a deputy foreign minister for the relations, for the cultural relation with Eastern Europe and Asia of Foreign Ministry, ambassador of Turkey to Austria, and now he is the chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee and deputy head of the Gelecek Party, the future party of Turkey, which is chaired by Ahmet Davutoglu, who has been a foreign minister of Turkey for a long time and prime minister from 2014 to 2016. Welcome, Mr. Ambassador. I hope that we'll have interesting conversation. I will ask you some questions because you have such an extraordinary background, career. You know the region from the depth. By the way, I want to say that our last conversation was watched by over 59,000, almost 60,000 people watched our last conversation. In fact, this is one of the highest ratio of visitors during the last week on Turan TV. Probably in English language, we will have to work hard to get the same numbers, but I'm sure that if we continue this way, we will have lots of followers and lots of people. And also you can ask the questions. I say for the people who watch our program, so that for the next time we can answer all these questions. Of course, now one of the hot issues in the region is Ukraine. We see that the tension is growing over there. From your CV, I see that you were ambassador in Russia from 2014 to 2016 when Ukrainian war started. You know when, and of course. All this tension happened during your time as ambassador to Moscow. There were also relations with Turkey. There were some tense periods in the relations. So when we go to the history of Ottoman Empire and the Russian Empire, we see that geopolitics in the region involved always Turkey. In particular now, when we see developments in Azov Sea, in Azak Sea, we see in the Black Sea developments, tension between Ukraine and Russia, Crimea issue. In fact, these territories were once the part of the Ottoman Empire, and during the War of 1735-1739, Russia managed to capture Azov castle, Azov fortress, in 1736. Now we see Turkey is in geopolitical, in the middle of big geopolitical games or tension. And I have seen the statement of the foreign minister Çavuşoğlu, who said that Turkey will keep neutrality and will not take the sides. Turkey has good relations with both Ukraine and Russia. But for how long Turkey would be able to continue this neutrality? Do you think that it will be possible for the longer term to keep this neutrality, particularly if the tension grows? We know that Russia closed the entry to the Azov Sea, which is also in violation of the agreement, and probably this is also important part of the wider Black Sea. Azov Sea is a smaller, and it is also there is a Kerch Gorge which connects the Black Sea with Azov. I haven't seen Turkish reaction to the closure of Azov. Probably I missed it, but probably you can start by saying how do you view the closure of Azov Sea until I think that October Russia closed this strait for military warships, etc. Just you start, and then probably I will I'll ask other questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mamedov, and I say hello to all our followers, all our visitors. Of course, as I always say, Turkey and the surrounding region, especially the region around Black Sea, is one of the very hot spots of the global environment currently. I mean, I don't see another secondary issue. Of course, there are always regions, some other regions where there are always difficulties, Central Asia or Middle East, Yemen or Libya. They are all issues. That all those issues, we can see how the dimensions of the issue, and we can make speculations how all those issues will develop or progress in the future. Let's say Libya, just a few comments. I mean, there was a civil war, there is still a civil war, unluckily, regrettably, but at the end of the day, there is a transition government. I hope they are successful and they solve the question of Libya in a united, sovereign, free Libya. So there are prospects towards a solution. So for other regions, it's more or less it's the same in Iraq or others. There is a diplomatic process going on. But when it comes to Donbass issue, the relations, the nature of the relations between Ukraine and Russia, I mean, incredibly, there are going on, but there are more issues which makes us, or not only us, for everybody to make a comment, to make a speculation. Of course, there are some Minsk agreements, there are some other agreements on the table which are supposed to be followed by all parties. It is clear. But the reality is that at the end of the day, again, there is a very hot region. Nobody knows what will happen tomorrow. The Russia is certainly one of the factors, most important factors of the region currently, has a massive mobilization of its forces, maybe in the last decades, maybe the most massive mobilization. There are armaments going on, and on the other hand, on the other side of the issue, who are on the other side of the issue. Of course, Ukraine, some Western people, Western actors supporting Ukraine, NATO, Black Sea. But so in this sense, in this context, it is really very, very impossible, almost next to impossible to have a comment with respect to what may happen the day after, next week or next. So this is very clear that we are not able to make. But one thing is sure, that the position of Turkey. So because since I am living in Turkey, respect the Turkish position, because with respect to other actors, it's really difficult to have a say. Even Baltics, Poland, everybody's involved in this game. But when it comes to Turkey, with respect to your question, of course, Turkey is one of the countries which is in a very, very difficult position, I have to say. Maybe more difficult position than another country in the region. This is how I see. Because when I follow the positions of Ukraine is clear, the Baltics are clear, the position of Poland is clear, all others, they are all clear. And Russia position is also clear. But what is Turkey? Where is Turkey in this equation? This is a most difficult question because Turkey has very strong relations, I have to say. Maybe not very rational. I have to make a critique of this issue also. I mean, I am always in favor of, I always speak in that I am in favor of relations, close, good relations between all neighbors of Turkey, including Russia, including Moscow, not in all fields, education, even politics, because it is not wise for Turkey to have some very critical, difficult relations with neighbors like Russia. It is very clear. But the current relations of Turkey is always open to discussion, which I am not very much in favor of. Because after the plane issue of 2015, 24 October, November, the relations has turned into a sort of very difficult relations and nobody knows how it will proceed. So, on the other hand, Turkish relations of Turkey with Ukraine is also very much interesting, which also, in this case, I am in favor. So, I have questions in my mind with respect to questions, relations between Turkey and Moscow. I like that it goes on, but I have some questions really. But when it comes to Ukraine, I am in totally favor of very close neighborhood and cooperative relations with Ukraine, because Ukraine is not a threat to Turkey. It's not a threat. I mean, we never faced any trade relations from Ukraine. Of course, in the history, during the times of Ottomans, we had some difficult relations. But at the end of those centuries, we are good neighbors. And also when it comes to relations, the issue of Crimean Tatars, of course, this is one of the most important dominant aspects of how we see as Turks vis-a-vis Ukraine. I mean, the Crimean Tatars are like me, maybe more than me. They are representative of Turkish nation. I'm globally. They are Tatars, they are Turks. I always appreciate their intellectual capacity, and they are trying to survive. They are trying to return back from Central Asia because they faced, after the Second World War, a very difficult period, like everybody, like Chechens, like Ahıska. So it's a very noble nation, Crimean. I have to be very fair. I am not speaking only that they are Turkish origin people. No, I am not. I am really just speaking. Of course, it's an issue for me. It's a matter for me. It's an important issue for me. But as I am trying to be fair and objective, so I am saying that I really appreciate the struggle of survival of Kırım people who are trying to return all after this century from the place which they are deported during Stalin time. So we have good relations. I like it to be better, stronger with Ukraine. So the equation is simple. Turkey, Russia, Ukraine. Mr. I really cannot make a speculation how it will go, but I am only speaking about the factors which may dominate. Of course, I am quite aware of the propaganda, Russian propaganda machine, how powerful they are. How far. So, this powerful machine in these days, like after 2015, which I was an ambassador, they are very harshly working in the field, the Russian propaganda machine. And also they are targeting Turkey in Ukrainian issue. When I am looking at, they are giving sometimes direct messages, sometimes indirect messages from all Kremlin or Russian Minister of Foreign Affairs. Really, they are very clearly saying that they are unhappy of Turkish-Ukrainian relations with respect to this issue, Donbass issue. So I am really very cautious about this Russian propaganda. It is really an important issue, and I am sure that it is working similarly all over the world. In even Europe, maybe they are very much effective. So I have two more last sentences. First, I really don't like to see a hot war between Russia and Ukraine, because the wars, the skirmish on the ground will not bring any final. Having said this, second, I have to say that a diplomatic solution, a political solution should be found, because we are talking about a region, Donbass, Lugansk, and the other, which is simply, and also Crimea, which is simply invaded by Russia. There is no other explanation. I mean, I cannot say any other sentence. I cannot make any additional sentence. I cannot say, yes, Russia was just right. No, there is no. I mean, all those places are invaded by Russia. Crimea. There are, they say it is not enough now. They are trying to cover Donbass region. They are playing. Nobody should think that I am a very anti-Russian or anti-Moscow. No, I have some cautious, I have some concerns, but when it comes to Ukraine, I mean, everybody should be very clear and plain. Russia is distributing hundreds of thousands of passports to people in the region. This is totally unacceptable, really totally unacceptable. No nation, no state can distribute its own passports to people in which they have invaded. There is no logic. This is in contradiction to everything, in contradiction, violation of international law. When we listen to the Russian views, they say, yes, we distribute passports, but it is because Ukraine does not pay attention to. No, this is not an argument. This is another issue. If there is a minority or a Russian-speaking or other people who has difficulties in another nation, it's another issue. You cannot simply go and invade by using some proxy people, in which they have done in Crimea also. They use the Russian-speaking people. This is no way, because in this world, there are a lot of nations who has minorities in other neighbors. So if everybody go and invades that region, we cannot live. I mean, it is not a same example, but there are millions of, tens of millions of Turkish-speaking people who are living in other regions. So should we go and invade, or others also? So, Mr. Mamedov, Mr. Arif Mamedov, really there is no clear answer, clear-cut answer to your question, but Turkey is in a very, very strange, difficult position. I am sure our politicians are also discussing this issue, so we have to see.
Thank you very much for your interesting answer. I do agree that distributing passports is quite worrying issue. We in Azerbaijan are also worried that Russians may stop after Russian language was introduced as official language in the Nagorno-Karabakh region. We're afraid that the next step could be also passportization, because things go the same way. We have seen the same in South Ossetia. We have seen the same in Abkhazia. We have seen the same in Transnistria. We have seen the same in Crimea, Donbass, and Lugansk region. My next question is about Putin and Erdogan relations, because maybe if you go to Western media, very often they are put in the same basket or in the same line. You know, they call Russian Tsar and Ottoman Sultan. You know, very often in the Western media they are referred as in some way as similar kind of politicians. We also see, for example, I have seen many Russians, when they speak about Putin, priorities and his and foreign politicians that he respects the most, I have heard many times from different serious politicians that Erdogan is one of two politicians that Putin respects the most. And they say that he respects the power because he associates himself with power, and he respects those who can project power. Maybe Russia was not happy about Turkey downing the Russian plane, but by doing that, some way Erdogan raised in the eyes of Putin because that he's a strong man who can answer. And of course, this was a very serious incident. But after that, magically relations between Turkey and Russia didn't go down, but went to even higher level. And we see that this warmth of the relations on the different platforms, when they meet between two presidents, when they are, we have seen the meetings in Baku, in Astana, in Iran, and we see that there is chemistry. With all the tense relations, when it comes to serious issues, these two leaders are very often are coming like close allies. And many platforms like 3+3 regional platforms like 3+3 or other projects where Russia and Turkey are next to each other. And we see that also relations between Turkey and the West are on the lowest level. We have to accept this. Erdogan is one of the few heads of states that Biden didn't call so far. Even with Putin, he had 2 telephone conversations, but he hadn't any with a strong ally like Turkey, a NATO ally like Turkey. And of course, this is also a sign of not, at least sign that relations are not so good. We have also seen recent visit of EU delegation to Ankara. There was chair diplomacy, chair problem, who would sit where, and also recent visit of Greek foreign minister to and their press conference with Çavuşoğlu, where we have seen some tension during the press conference, and Çavuşoğlu responded to the words of Greek foreign minister. And I remember when I was even ambassador to working in Brussels, when you had chair of your party, Davut Ahmetoğlu, when he was visiting European capitals, and his message about zero problems with the neighbors was, do you hear me? I think that it is I think that line is interrupted. Hello. Kaynak Bey'le bir kesildi. Gelir mi? Gelir mi? Ya. Ümit Bey'le bir şey oldu. Onda mı problem oldu? Dakika. 2 dakika gözleyək. Bəs necə, indi siz məni təzədən şey eləsiniz? İndi yayındayım. Okay. I hope that Ambassador Ümit Yardım can join conversation, because we had a quite interesting conversation about regional issues and about Turkish role. And my question was more about Turkish EU relations. I remember when I was ambassador, Turkey was projected as the country which is willing to develop relations with the European Union. It was a period of nicey-twicy, like lots of expectations. Now relations between the EU and Turkey not at the lowest, but not the same as it was during the 2009 and 2014 when foreign minister was Ahmet Davutoglu, the chair of the Gelecek Party, the Future Party. I don't know whether Umit Bey is with us or not. No, I don't see him. Do you want me to call him? I have probably some.
Şurası mı? Evet.
Ümit Bey.
Of ne oldu biz de anlamadık ama.
There was, yeah. Shall we continue?
Yes, sure. I read. Yeah, please.
No, that's fine. It happens during the COVID. There is lots of people who are connected to Wi-Fi, and in Brussels is the same. We don't have stable internet, unfortunately, because lots of people stay at home and everyone uses Wi-Fi, and this is one of the problems. Are we online now? Can we continue? Yeah, I think that we can continue. Yes, my question was that when the chair of your party, Ahmet Davutoglu, was a foreign minister of Turkey, relations with the European Union were at one of the best levels. I cannot say that they were perfect, excellent, but it was immediately after Helsinki summit when Turkey was promised membership. But now relations between the EU and Turkey are not good at all. And we have seen the tension with different EU member states, with Greece, Cyprus, with some France, of course, with Macron, with Germany. I was saying that there was good dynamic in the relation with Italy, but probably after last Prime Minister of Italy's remarks, probably relations went also not very good dynamic. How do you see the future of the relation with the EU? Because zero problems with the neighbors is turned now to nothing but the problems. People call it nothing but the problems, or problems with all. Do you think that there is a chance of improving relations with Europe and with the West in general? Because we see that now probably relations with Russia is better than relations with the West, and whether Turkey will continue keeping the right balance and improving relations with the West, or don't you expect improvement of relations in the short perspective? How do you see this?
Yeah. You have asked Mr. a few questions, so each of them I'll make some comments. First, of course, it is totally unacceptable. It is contradictory to international law. It's totally unacceptable that a group of people, referring to Karabakh, Armenia, inside the domestic enclave, that they start to have an official language, Russia. There is no place in the contemporary world of such practices. It is a practice of bandism. Only the bandit states may apply such kind of formula. So I agree with you. It's a totally unacceptable situation. So I have to make my comment on this one. Secondly, coming to personal relations between Mr. Putin and Mr. Erdogan, Turkish president. Of course, the leaders may have some personal contacts. On the personal level, they may have good or bad relations. It's something separate, I have to tell. But one thing I am sure, I know as a Turkish citizen, is that Turkish-Russian relations are not normal at this stage. The nature is not normal. So I think this perspective is much more important than any other issue. Because I might have told this in other occasions that we come together with you and with some colleagues, but as a NATO member, as an candidate member to European Union, or because of some other so many factors, the relations of Turkey with Russia should be reviewed. This is how I see as a Turkish citizen. It is maybe some other people, some other politicians may see these relations from a different angle, but I am not agree. Although, as I said in the previous session, that I like to see Turkish-Russian relations in a good, normal, rational basis. But when it comes to Turkey, some other responsibilities with NATO or you as a part of European Union or member of European family, we have to restructure, reformulate, rethink over our bilateral issues because it is not very good in format. So this is a secondary issue. And when it comes to Turkish-European relations, European Union relations, it is really a very difficult, very difficult file bilaterally. And first of all, Turkey is a candidate member to NATO since our relations are so old since 1959, when we have presented our former letter of membership to European Union during the time of late Prime Minister Adnan Menderes. It's so old. So the relations of Turkey, bilateral relations are almost, we are coming to a century. I hope after a century we will not be talking about candidacy of Turkey, this and this. We have to focus on major issues. Both sides, major, important pillars, because the issues are really hard and pressing. But on the other hand, when we come to the problems of today, the problems are much more magazine issues. Of course, they are important, but they attract attention from the people much more than the issue, the essence of the questions. Of course, the protocol issue, which Madame von Leyen could not find a place, nobody. Of course, it's not nice. It is really, I don't like it. I personally didn't like it. I don't want to put the blame on this one, but it's a total problem. It's a problem the protocol sides of both sides has created it. So this is how I see. So it's not, we are not talking about magazine, you are responsible this, but the scene, the picture, the photograph was really terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, two gentlemen, two leaders sitting, but there should be another formula. I mean, Turkey has a tradition of protocol. The European Union system, they have a tradition of protocol. They arrange every minute of an official visit. This time you have to be here. This time you have to start. At this o'clock we go to lunch. So they arrange everything, including protocol. So what such a problem? It's really embarrassing for everybody, not only everybody. Secondly, what has happened in the press meeting between Mr. Dendias and Mr. Çavuşoğlu. Now, at this stage, Mr. Mehmetov, okay, there are two factors. First, the people, the media, the public opinion should see rational comments on such level, because it's a really important visit. Good comments, good prospects for future, how to evolve, because the main factor between Turkey and European is Greece, one of the most important factors. So this is one. But second, however, I try to be objective. I try to behave objectively, but the behavior of Mr. Dendias was really stupid. I mean, I don't want to use this word, but you are a guest. You come to one's home place. In the closed room, in the talking table, you can say anything you like. The Turkish delegation responds. It's possible, quite. This is the reason of an official visit. But when you come to in front of the press people, you do not make some insults to somebody. It's not necessarily against Mr. Çavuşoğlu. It may be anybody, but you cannot do this. Also, Mr. Çavuşoğlu, foreign minister, he cannot do, but he had to make he had to give an answer to what Mr. Dendia said. So this is not a good behavior. I mean, our topic is not Turkish-Greek relations. One day we can talk about it on a separate session, but they have to behave. They have to be rational. In this picture, and this is not the only first time, in most of the visits by a Greek minister to Turkey, such kind of instances always happens, unluckily. So this is not the first instance last week. So Çavuşoğlu, although I am a representative of party in opposition against the current government, I have to be fair that Mr. Çavuşoğlu, Foreign Minister Çavuşoğlu, had to reply from this context because he was insulted. So this is not a nice one. And European-Turkish relations, you know, Mr. Mehmetov, we see Turkey-European relations on bilaterally with European nations and globally with European Union as a strategic perspective. Strategic. Okay, we have applied to European Union in 1959 during the time of Prime Minister late Menderes, but our relations and cooperations with Europe is centuries old, 5 centuries old, 6 centuries old. I mean, I don't want to use again a very popular concept, but when the Turkish people was in Vienna, in Yugoslavia, it was not always a war. There was an exchange of culture, exchange of traditions. People make commerce with each other. They write stories. So it was a life part. They shared a common world. Every day did not fight on the front. 5 centuries was not a killing, massacring. So when it was war, but in the other time there was a relation, traditions they changed. And we have to, Mr. Mehmet, remember that it was the times when the Islam-Turkish civilization, our civilization was on the top. And European civilization, there were no, because it was a medieval ages. It was difficult times for them. So it was a exchange of civilizations. So we are not new on this picture. Both parties are not new. We have an in-depth of relations. So we have to move forward. We, as an opposition party now, I can say, we are very unhappy with the position with the nature of where we are. From our point and from the point of European Union, both parties, they need each other. We need European Union, and on the same basis, European needs Turkey, because these are important factors. If European Union wants to live in the continent, today's European continent, in these borders, they can continue, but they will never be a global actor. But if they want to be a global actor with some values, traditions, they have to talk with countries like Turkey or some other Mediterranean. So in this sense, you can be a global actor globally. So we are unhappy with the current status of our relations with European Union. They have to recover. Only when there are refugees from Middle East or Turkey to Europe, it becomes an agenda. But it is not the only agenda. There are so many agendas, many chapters, many issues that we have to sit and talk. You are right. During the prime ministership of Mr. Davutoğlu, we were almost at the stage of having a visa-free relations, visa-free customs agreement. But today we are so much backward from this point. So we have to work. Everybody should work. Our government, of course, I cannot talk on their behalf. If they agree about the importance of such relations, they have to move forward. Both parties move forward. And when it comes to our side, yes, we give utmost importance to Turkish-European relations. It is not, today is not the place where should be. We are quite aware of the problems. We are quite aware. I mean, we know refugee problem, we know custom problem, we know other problems between Turkey. We are aware of Turkish-Greek problems in Aegean Sea, in Mediterranean Sea. But we have to pass, over them, we have to find solutions. So it's a difficult issue, but we will work on this.
Thank you very much. Just my comment on when you said that relations between Turkey and Balkans, Austro-Hungary were not just the wars and bad pages, but there were good pages when they were like good relations. When I was before our conversation, I looked a little bit to history about this Russian-Turkish war of 1735-1739. When Turkish military garrison left Azov region, many Greeks and Armenians who lived there, they left the city with the Turkish army. They didn't want to stay and be under Russian control. They left together with Turkish army because most of the people think that there were bad relations between Greeks and Turks, between Armenians, but I was surprised in Wikipedia. They say that Russian agreement was that the Turkish military garrison will leave peacefully this Azov, and Armenians, Greeks, and other minorities who were there, they left together with the Turkish garrison. And also the same, I read about Ottoman Empire, like 29 Pashas in Ottoman Empire were Armenian, ethnic Armenians, like 25 ministers of Ottoman Empire were Armenians. And I was surprised that most of the ambassadors of Turkey to Europe, to Vienna, to Brussels, to London were Armenian origin, so that Turkey had good part of history of coexistence with Balkan people, with ethnic minorities, and this is something that has to be underlined. Probably, I will also say a couple of words on the European delegation visit. Don't you think that it might be provocation because it happened just after Turkey withdrew from the Istanbul Convention on women's rights, and woman is left standing while two men sit. It was like someone, just organized it just to show that, Unfortunately, Turkey's picture is shown negatively. Like they sit and lay stands. Again, Foreign Minister of Greece makes, you are right, in diplomacy, you don't do statements like this during the press conference. You can have very harsh conversation on private room, but doing it openly when there are mass media and it will be everywhere, you do it, of course, you do it with intention to increase the tension, not to let the tension to decrease, so that like there is no any positive agenda that can be played in the positive. We see, on the contrary, relations with United Kingdom is developing after UK left European Union. We see military cooperation, also cooperation on different areas like industry, like light industry. Do you think that alternative of relations with the Europe is British-Turkish relations? Because we see developments in all the areas, like military relations, we see technological exchange, like British companies are developing engine for Turkish jets, TX, I think that TX, fifth generation Turkish jet, and I see that almost relation with the European Union really goes down, and every day, even when you have big delegations, you want to, delegation came to improve relations, but as a result, it made the relations even worse. So do you see still that something can be done to revive relations? But it wouldn't happen on small things. There should be some desire and will from both sides to break this ice and try to build relations again. Maybe new politicians are needed because many things depend. You are right. In 2009, 2014 was the relations when the relations were going skyrocketing. Chapters were discussed, and unfortunately, I think that out of 33 chapters of the European Union, only 3 or 4 chapters are closed. Can you imagine 30 chapters remain still open? And
Mr. Mehmet, you are right. Of course, you have very valuable comments. I am grateful. I thank you very much. So, but of course, there are some 3 issues also which you have raised. You are totally right. With respect to Azov Sea, that 17th century issues, which is very much critical. Russians, for the first time, they reached the Black Sea region through Azov Castle issue, and it's quite understandable that some other Greek or Armenians left out with Ottoman Empire. Of course, from that time on, our struggle, of course, we are not always enemies with Russia, but of course, difficult pages. So this time, the surrender of the castle in Azov was the start of a new rivalry between Ottomans, or in general Turks, and the Russians around the Black Sea region. It's a very historical dominant date, very critical. Secondly, you are again right. You are totally right. Everybody thinks that we will always have some difficult, very hostile relations with some minorities. No, it's not fair. I mean, the Turks in general, the Azerbaijan, Turkey, in Turks, I mean, we are critical of some animosity coming from others, like the invasion of Yukarı-Karabağ, for instance. But during, let's say, during the time of Ottoman Empire, of course, you are right, we have ministers of different minor ethnic groups, Armenians or Greeks. They served in the cabinets, in Turkish cabinet, Ottoman cabinet. They served as ambassadors. So it was a very colorful, very important page of our common history. So this is it. So this is very clear. Thirdly, when coming to, again, the Sofa Gate, the chair issue. Mr. Mehmetov, I really don't know if it was a scenario that Madame von Leyen had to sit because of the event. I mean, in this world, everything is possible, everything. But personally, I like that Turkey is remembered, not because of such issues, but because of some important visits, because it was a really important visit by President Michel, or I don't know how they spell, Michael, and Madame von der Leyen, because and they are meeting President of Turkey. It is really an important visit. The top two leaders of European Union in Turkey, and they are discussing about the future of relations, important issue. But because of this, I can say scandal, protocol scandal, many people focused on this issue. Yeah. So I wish not this, if it is a scenario or something, I don't know, but I wish the essence, the importance of the visit should be the focus, not that scandal, but it happened that way. So it's really pity. So when you coming to British-Turkish relations, of course, in Turkey, we see Turkey vis-a-vis Europe in the two-channel formats mostly. First, bilaterally with Europeans. Second, with European Union. It's a global phenomenon. So, Turkish-British relations are fine. After Brexit, it may have a different nature, but it will still continue. But it will never replace European and Turkey. It's something special, something different. So, not only with Britain or Portugal, Spain, Germany, bilaterally, it will continue, but institutional relations, Turkey and European Union, is a separate channel. It's a much more important channel, maybe, but it will go, it has to go. It should be recovered with a different nature. It should go. It's not easy. As I said, we agree, we know them. But I think step by step we have to go. In a 1 year, 2 year, it's not easy. It is unrealistic to say, it's a dream to say everything will be fine after 5 years. No, we have to be real. I think in the first stage, my idea is that we have to focus on Turkish-Greek relations. This is my understanding. Because since Greece is a member of European Union, we cannot wait for a very objective positioning vis-a-vis Turkey. But it's understandable because it is their member. So they have to listen, follow the policies of Greece. I know that in many European capitals, as a diplomat or as a politician, I hear so many words, Mr. Mehmetov, saying that we are tired of Greek policies because it makes us, European Union, hostage. They say, Europeans, they say that we would like to have a much more proper relations with Turkey. But since Greece is a member of European Union, we have to listen them because we are one family. We are sitting in the same table. But anyway, it's a problem. But I think step by step, we have to focus on Turkish-Greek relations. And as soon as possible, we have to normalize our relations with European Union because there is a confidence lost. I think today, the most basic problem between Turkey and European Union is that both parties, I think, they have lost their confidence vis-a-vis each other. We have to focus on this. And the third issue, which may take 5, 10, even 20 years, it is the restructure our relations. So bilateral, second, normalized relations, and second, spend some more decades, I say not years, but decades, 10 years, 20 years, to see what we can do in future. It is a very difficult issue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. Just the last question. I wouldn't. I ask you so many questions about relations between Turkish and Azerbaijani opposition. Unfortunately, now relations between Turkey and Azerbaijan are defined by two people, President Erdogan and President Aliyev. There is no much relation between civil society. Of course, relations exist, but there is no other kind of relation. When Erdogan comes to Azerbaijan, he meets President Aliyev. He doesn't meet opposition. While we have other countries' delegations, they try to meet also opposition people. It is not practice in Turkish foreign policy. It's not the practice in Russian. From this point of view, there is also lots of resemblance. Do you think that in the future there can be some kind of the cooperation between opposition parties? Because I didn't hear about any kind of meeting when Turkish and Azerbaijani opposition can meet and discuss regional issues, like relations between two parties. This is one of the issues, and of course, these issues are becoming even more important when expectations from Turkey is growing in Azerbaijani society. I see even people go protesting on social issues. They ask us for the assistance, not from President Aliyev, but they say that we ask Erdogan to help us. The same about Karabakh issue. Now, if you see the protests in Azerbaijan, people lost their hope for Azerbaijani system, like prosecution, Azerbaijani courts, and they say that we ask for Turkish to help us to solve this problem. How do you think that, do you see possibility of cooperation between on the level of opposition? And secondly, how we can develop relations between not only government to government, but people. We can say like slogans, like one nation, countries, but in reality, there should be more than just slogans. Unfortunately, what we can do in this, and as a position, can we do something in this direction so that we can be closer and understand each other better?
Yes, Mr. Mamedov, first of all, I personally see Azerbaijan a very brother country, and when I say this, I include everybody. I think the population of Azerbaijan is 10 million or a little bit more. I don't know, 10 million. So 10 million, maybe close to 11. When I say Azerbaijan, when I think of Azerbaijan, when I embrace Azerbaijan, I always refer to 10 million people. Opposition, government, or unpolitical people, students, young people, old people. It is taught, all of them are our brothers. So this is I see. I try to not make this an opposition, this is a government, because for all Azerbaijani people are my brothers. This is I see. So it is quite normal. Everybody should understand that it's quite normal that if I go one day to Azerbaijan to visit, let's say to visit one day, to go to Karabakh, Shusha, to congratulate Azerbaijan for the success, I will also visit some opposition parties. Some of them are my friends, whom I met them 20 years ago, but still sometimes, not often maybe, I can have I send regards to them, they send regards to me. I don't care if it is a government or opposition. So nobody can say that, Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Ümit Yardım, if you come to Baku, don't visit these people. No, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. I don't. With government people, of course, I will visit. If I can have an appointment, I will visit. A government people also, quite understandable, because it is also among the 10 million people. Maybe I will talk some official things. How is the situation in Karabakh, for instance? But also, everybody should not surprise everybody. Nobody can question me why I meet opposition figures, why I meet and have a coffee with them. No, I will not accept this one. You know, if a group of people is a politician or NGO or newspaper are working, living in Azerbaijan, so if I go them, I will see all of them. Nobody can say another question. So this is my approach. This is really my approach. I mean, when I was an ambassador, not an ambassador, when I was a consular, müsteşar in Baku some 20 years ago, I was very happy to meet all sections of Azerbaijan. Officially, I met ministers or some others, but also I had a lot of opportunities that I meet all political leaders of the opposition, not only political leaders, but the journalists, the NGOs, everybody. As long as they are working in Azerbaijan as a registered, I mean, because they are citizens of Azerbaijan. So I will listen them, they will listen me, we will talk everything. We have to talk everything. If we are educated people of you, me, or everybody of our nations, we have to listen all part of our nations. Otherwise, we are not an official instruments to say what somebody says. So maybe it's difficult for some people to understand what we are saying, but they have to understand. In democratic countries, in free countries, you know better than me that there are hundreds of NGOs, hundreds of think tanks, hundreds of different press people. Maybe they are related with different parties or with different intellectual capacity, but they meet each other, they discuss each other. So I don't see anything wrong with talking with opposition figures, or with all opposition figures. I am in favor of this one because there is a future for Turkey and Azerbaijan, more important than with another bilateral, because Azerbaijan is a special type of, how can I say, concept for me. Not the only bilateral. I am not talking about Turkey, Russia, or Turkey, European Union, or Turkey, Britain. It's a special issue. So if we deserve, if our next generations deserve to have a very, very supreme relations, not only strategic, even above than strategic relations, we have to talk. Everybody should talk. Everybody who is living in Turkey or Azerbaijan has a right to talk, discuss, and share their view. So this is our view.
Thank you very much. I think that we had quite interesting conversation. Probably there was an internet connection problem. We apologize from our viewers for this. Next time, I hope that we will try to have better connection. Also, my internet was not good either. Once again, thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador.
Mr. Mamedov, do you have a few more minutes?
Yeah, sure. If you have questions, please.
Yeah, my question. Mr. Arif Mehmetov, I want to return back to you and listen your comments. Russia, Ukraine, Donbass, Donetsk and Lugansk Republic. For instance, next month, what picture will we see, or summer? What will be the picture in the region? What's your comment?
I see the picture, the dark picture. I don't see the bright picture. Yeah. Firstly, now Russia is pushed to the corner, and Russia is a powerful country. It is military power, but it is not economic power and financial power. It is not. It is strength is only in the military. It's not democracy. It has no many allies, and we can see it is pushed to the corner. For Russia, they say that we are going to answer. For example, we see the wave is going. We have seen even today the Czech government decided to expel 18 diplomats. Before that, Polish diplomats. We see, like the wave coming from different EU countries on the bilateral level, tension growing, and also on the other fields. For Russia to answer, they cannot answer to US sanctions on the Russian debt, for example, because financial instruments, world financial instruments are in New York, in Wall Street. Russia cannot answer economically because the West is more powerful economically. And the only area where Russia can do something is military, by showing its muscles. And what Russia does now is showing its muscles every day. There were like 50,000 Russian troops on the border with Ukraine. Then it became 60, then 80, 90. Now it is 10,000. And not only military contingency, Russia is also bringing military ships from even Caspian Sea, from the northern fleet, and we see that military build-up is continuing. From the other side, we don't see the West letting the Russia some space out of corner. The pushing it to the corner is increasing from all the sides. Financially, sanctions, we see sanctions are increasing. When Biden called President Putin, many viewed it as the step towards Russia. But the sanctions that followed immediately after showed that it isn't the case. So that we see that the sanctions are coming, and these are slow sanctions and gripping sanctions. So that West is not immediately imposing all the sanctions at one day. They are doing steadily from different directions in coordinated way, because, for example, relations with Czech Republic were quite well in the past. With Zeman, Czech president was having good relations with Russia, but now 18 diplomats are expelled. Russia is going to answer. Relations with Poland and other countries are tense. And we can see at some stage that Russia will not have any other option than to answer something militarily. It can try to do it in a smaller scale, but when you start firing, you don't know when it can turn badly, That's why, for me, situation today is even more complicated than that was even before the First World War. even Second World War. First started when Crown Prince of Austro-Hungary was killed. Europe, of course, noticed that, but nobody expected that it will turn to the World War. But today, with high concentration of two countries, with military warships concentrated in the Black Sea, we see, for example, United States recalled the request for passage of its warships to the Black Sea, but British warships are going to enter to the Black Sea. So many troops are concentrated there. And to bring this huge army back again to its bases is also complicated. And NATO exercises will start mid of the May. If something happens, the window for Russia to answer is now, between now and mid of May. If not before that, then there are NATO exercises, huge, biggest NATO exercises. It cannot start the war when NATO deploys all its power. Then they will have to wait until September. So my perspective is dark, and I believe that Russia can really think that the only option for it to answer is militarily. Also, internal economic problems in Russia, political problems, human rights issues. Navalny issue is also very important, and internal situation in Russia. Economic situation is going from daily from bad to worse, and also propaganda machine that you mentioned in the beginning is crying the war. If you follow the Russian media, you see war is in everyone's lips, and unfortunately, I believe that everything goes to the war. In a regional war, to the bigger war. I hope that it will be a small war between Ukraine and Russia, but it can turn to the much bigger war, regional war, even a world war.
Mr. Mehmetov, at these days, Russian media is attacking Turkey by using the drone issues. They claim that there are Turkish drones in Ukraine, so they are trying to make I don't know if they are their drone or not, but trying to make a pressure over Turkey to be far from. And my really last sentence is that as an opposition party, we are against Istanbul Convention, withdrawal of Turkey, which you have mentioned. It's a very, very big issue, but just for the sake of your information, future party, Gelecek Partisi, is against government decision to make such a strange decision. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, I do agree. The timing is also not good. When there are so many issues to withdraw from Istanbul Convention, probably was not the best timing when there are so many issues, other issues with the West on human rights issues also. I always give myself the question, why, as an opposition person, I can now travel to EU countries without being without afraid to be arrested and sent to Azerbaijan, but I cannot go to Turkey, for example, because there is a risk that I can be extradited to Azerbaijan. And so democracy issues are very important. It might seem that this is like lip work, but no, democracy is important. I want to freely come to Turkey as I do to other EU members, and not to be afraid that government can hand me over to Azerbaijani government. This is also about chapters, because when everyone, no country says that I am dictatorial or I'm not democratic, but democracy starts with things like this also, you know.
Yes.
And I think that over all the chapters, I believe that democracy chapter probably is the most important, and I agree that Istanbul Convention is a part of wider picture. On drone issues, the Bayraktar issue, probably Bayraktar became so famous after Karabakh War.
Yeah.
I think that many other countries, because I have seen most of the countries have drones, and they are producing drones.
Yes.
United States, Israel, United Kingdom, Ukraine itself, Russia, but Bayraktar became like symbol of victory.
Symbol, that's right.
Yes. And that's why when you say Bayraktar, it's also image issue, you know. It's also like image. When it worked so well, you see that now many countries are lining to buy Bayraktar, from Saudi Arabia to Indonesia. Even I believe that when Russia was said they are unhappy about Bayraktar selling to Ukraine, I think that the foreign ministry spokesman said that we are ready to sell Bayraktars to Russia as well. So Bayraktar became like a brand for Turkey. Probably it's not very good because this issue becomes important. But I believe that everyone understands that the market of arms is like the market of any commodity. If you can buy in the market tomato or planes, you can buy drones. And of course, Russia itself understands that Russia does sell weapons to many countries, including to the countries which have the political and war, even are in the state of war. They were selling their arms to Armenia and to Azerbaijan. So it's difficult for Russia to defend its position on Turkey selling arms, because Russia does the same. Russia sells their arms to many countries. It's in fact the biggest arms exporter in the world. So I don't think that this issue is really hot. Of course, Russia wants to send a message. They also canceled the flights to Turkey. It's like tomato diplomacy. You remember when they forbid tomato export from Turkey? But I believe that unfortunately it is a very complicated period when diplomacy will have to be very careful. Better diplomacy. It shouldn't be failed diplomacies. We have maybe work closer between Azerbaijan and Turkey on diplomatic level. Maybe Guam is also platform. I believe that in the future Turkey may consider closer working with Guam countries. Now Guam is almost dead, but in the future I believe that there is a big potential for Turkey to take the lead in Guam and become the also member of this grouping. But again, I don't exclude the relation with Russia. As you said, Russia is a very important country in the region, and even Turkish tourism depends strongly on Russian tourists, and all other areas there is big potential for the relations. That's all. If you have not any more questions, we can conclude.
It is very much useful. Thank you. In the next session, we will also talk. We will listen. Thank you. It was very nice. Thank you, Mr. Mehmetov.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So I think we say